Hey, yo, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to episode, I think, 26.5. Oh, who's that? Of In Madness Pod. It's Shawn the Butcher, and slowly keep creeping into camera
Oh,
view. If you're watching on YouTube, Vertebrae 33. What's going on, dude?
Shawn, what's happening, man? I'm sorry. I was hiding because I was in the meat locker downstairs, and there was a whole bunch of
Hey.
stuff going on in there. So I was a little nervous.
Welcome to a very special episode. This is a themed, I guess, month we're doing all around. Well, I mean, now that I just went ahead and ruined the spoiler alert for some of the other ones, but not all of them because we're not doing all of them. But we have been sticking to a little bit of a theme. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Our previous episode was Predator, the original movie,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to be doing something special for this point five. Before I get into it, I want to make sure that you are following us on all the socials at In Madness Pod, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Hit us in the mail sack. Talk about anything. Ask us anything, any questions, anything you've heard about any of these previous episodes we have done over the last year plus. Email inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube. Throw us those 5-star ratings. Throw us likes on everything. Check out the In Madness Spotify playlist, which is so awesome. We are adding songs after every single episode. Something obscure will pop up, and we're like, we have to add this to the In Madness playlist. Happy In Madness Monday, is if that is when you're listening, and make sure you tell everybody you know about this podcast. If you're enjoying it, spread the love, spread the madness, let them In Madness tentacles take over everyone you know and everyone in your social circle, or even in that text thread you got of everyone who likes those specific things that you like. I got my buddies who I only talk about metal with. I got my buddies who I only talk about video games with. Tell everybody you know about In
That's
Madness.
wild. I have 0 text threads.
Yo,
0.
I have so many. I have the work
Yeah.
text thread of like everybody everybody talking crap about each other at work, and then
Yeah.
there's I have a Metallica text thread of my
Yeah.
buddy who
Oh,
loves
wow.
my buddy loves Metallica and got banned from all of Metallica's socials because he just like talks so much shit.
Oh, that's
It's
a
so
shame.
funny.
That's a
And then I
shame.
have our thing. Yeah, there's a lot of cool text
I
threads.
think I give off the don't include me in your text thread vibe. So
No
I think
way.
what it is.
You're in my
But,
text thread.
you know, I was trying to improve the lighting so I'd look as cool as you, and now like I hate being in this bright light right now.
It's
I
so
need a mask or
funny.
something.
This
I
is
was
I feel
trying to do it, but it's
Look at
not for me.
how far you have progressed since the days of
Let me hide
being
behind the light.
me being like, dude, I think we should be on YouTube. And you're like, get the fuck out of here with that. And now look at you, well lit, well
Oh,
groomed. I'm
awful.
proud of you.
I
I'm
mean,
very proud of you.
I'm always well groomed, but not always well lit. But yeah, I gotta get used to it. But I was trying because I felt like I was this dark little blob on YouTube, and we're trying
You're
to.
my dark little blob. Do you want to
How sweet.
tell the audience what it is we are doing for this short, brief point five for our first time ever in a point five?
Yeah, we're breaking new ground. So we're talking about a movie on a point five, just one film, and it's Predator 2. And Shawn's got a lot of good notes to talk about, and I've got a few little gnarly bits and a few and some commentary as well. But this is released November 21st, 1990. And this movie is very early 1990 in like a lot in a lot of ways. So it's Danny Glover as Lieutenant Mike Harrigan, as LAPD officer, and they're investigating these rival Jamaican Colombian drug cartels. Um, and then Kevin Peter Hall is back as the Predator, or they call City Hunter. There's some. They got a new guy doing the Predator voice, Hal Rail. Gary Busey is in this. Bill Paxton is in this. Detective Jerry Lambert. It's funny online. They say his role is often to provide that of comic relief. It says, and I would agree. Adam Baldwin is in this movie, and everybody's 90s favorite star, Morton Downey Jr., is in this movie, and nothing says 90s talk television shows more than Morton Downey
Wait,
Jr.
who the hell's Morton Downey Jr.?
In general or in this film?
Both.
Morton Downey Jr. was the king of I guess like Jerry Springer would have copied Morton Downey.
Oh, he's the hardcore guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Smoke
hardcore.
smoking cigarettes and the whole bit, but he's very 90s. He's Tony Pope in this. And the score, we get Alan Silvestri back. So we're not doing a full 2 episodes on this, so I didn't go into kind of all the other making of it stuff. I figured we just kind of talk in general about this film. I don't remember the first time I saw it. Do you remember?
No, but I remember immediately loving the concept of Predator in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is cool. I everyone's like, oh, things in the 90s were the worst of times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time that I grew up. And I think that everything that happened in the 90s was like the best of times. So,
Uh-huh. Of
like
course. Yeah. I mean,
all the music, all the movies, I was like,
yeah.
this shit rules. And yeah, I don't remember the first time I saw it. I definitely saw it after I saw the original Predator, or maybe even before, honestly. It's probably on TV or something, but I always thought the concept of Predator in the city was great. But no, I have
Right.
no idea the first time I saw it.
I don't remember the first time I saw it. And listen, Shawn, I never want to take away from anybody's joy on when they first saw something, because the period of time that we have when we're into things is important to us and when we were growing up. Um, I will say that this movie okay, so full disclosure on this. We got to watch it for the podcast. We're always struggling, especially right now, with time in our lives to record. We've said it before, so we're chasing around time to record. So I was like, I gotta watch Predator 2, gotta watch Predator 2. And I just kept falling asleep when I was watching Predator 2. And like my wife was like, "Hey, wake up. Are you supposed to be watching this movie?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I'd have to jump back like 30 seconds. And then yeah, and I don't know if it's just I'm been exhausted lately or it wasn't grabbing me. I will say for me, it very much has aliens vibes. And you know, if I put Predator with Alien and then Predator 2 with aliens, it's got you'll go through your points if you want, but it's got them following people and the monitors and all that. And it's a group of people, much like the Marines in Aliens. It's interesting, you know, it also makes expands the universe a lot, right? Like they get into a lot of stuff. But also it makes that predator vision stuff like really confusing. And in the beginning they're going through it, but there's only like certain small areas of red and yellow and everything else is blue. And then I really don't understand what that even shows. If it's supposed to be infrared or something, but like I feel like there'd be more hot spots than that. So I think that was just an artistic touch. But it starts out pretty bombastically with this
I dig
craziness.
the violence in the streets, the cartel war, Danny Glover, Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon, where he's basically playing the same character, but just a little angrier and more
Yeah.
confrontational to authority. But I love so they're fighting like the drug cartels. Did you notice? Well, I don't know if you fell asleep with this part. With the first guy when he's all coked up and he's on the roof or
Oh
whatever,
yeah. Yeah.
and he sees the predator, and like I don't know, he gets shot or whatever, and he falls. Do you notice he lands on a picnic table and miraculously somehow does not break the picnic table, just lands on the table?
Yeah, that's a rough fall. And I did, in my defense, every time I fell asleep, I woke back up and jumped back, so I saw it. So I didn't see any of the movie. It just took me much longer to get through
For
it than
forever to watch it, yeah.
than I thought.
Yeah. I
But
was laughing that
yeah,
he did not break. He fell from that height, but the table did not break. He just messed up some of the mustards and plates and stuff.
it's definitely there's a very like almost like a tongue-in-cheek vibe to this a little bit. Like it's a little cheeky, this movie. Like I don't think it's meant to be a serious expose on what happens if a predator ends up in Los Angeles. It also takes place only 7 year in 97. So it's 7 years after this movie comes out. So this is what they think our future is in 7 years. It's pretty bleak. The guns look weird too. Like the weapons look a little futuristic, like semi-futuristic, I noticed. But do you want to get into some of your points? I'm
Well, I mean,
excited.
I just have like random things. I do love that
Yeah.
Agent Johnson they had Agent Johnson from Die Hard as one of the FBI guys.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know his name is Johnson in this one. I don't think it was.
So if we go through you want to go through the film quickly and we can kind of talk about it a little bit, the plot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to get this correct. So they have this, or you tell me if I'm wrong, these drug cartels battling, and they get all this violence with the one drug cartel leader, and they think it's just drug violence. Danny Glover is like a local cop, but then the feds show up with Gary Busey, and they all get real upset
Gary
because
Busey, our real villain.
yes, because they're pushing everybody out of the way. And something else, they're up to something else, and then we find out what the something else is, and that this predator, these aliens have been coming down. I forget what they said. It was every few months or something. They were tracking them.
What Gary Busey said. Honestly, I wasn't
Yes.
even paying all that much close
Uh,
attention to it.
he
Yeah,
does
yeah.
give a fantastic exposition speech about them and their
I don't have
tracking
that.
of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and that part I liked a lot, but
That's so funny that of course the expose part was funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like when they stopped fighting and started talking. Yeah.
All I have highlighted is the cool, like him with the spine on his shoulder and getting struck by the lightning, and you're like, the expose was fucking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
fantastic. You go through the history of the predator. They've been tracking them. It is interesting that they said, what did they say? The explosion uh spread like 30 city blocks or something equivalent. I think it was 30. Was it 300? I can't remember.
It's close
Uh,
enough. Something with a three.
Anyway, it was a massive enough explosion that now you have to really question what happened at the end of Predator, their first Predator, right? Because how does Arnold survive?
How doesn't you said everyone got the shits on set except Arnold? He always
Yeah.
survives.
Right. But I would have loved, and I don't know why, but I would have loved if Arnold was in this, right? He could have
That would have
showed
been
up.
cool. Him with Danny Glover, and then they do the fucking "you son of a bitch," and then they do it
Yeah.
up.
Maybe he
Yeah.
shows up at the end to help him. The girl survived that they found in that compound, right? She gets away. So I they probably couldn't get him for it. 1990, I'm not sure. Again, I didn't do deep research on this, what else he
No.
had going on at the time. But if you have any Predator 2 knowledge, let us know. They did expand. So the cool thing is that we get through this whole thing with them, and they decide that they're at this. It's like I guess it's a meat packing plant, right? Where they have all
Mhm.
the meat in the freezer, and they're gonna do that shtick again, where nobody's gonna be able to see them because there were some molecules or something, some
They
dust.
decided to camouflage themselves somehow, yeah, with some
They
space
had these
suits,
suits. Yeah, the corniest space suits ever, by the way. They were just like silver, like the old
tinfoil.
school, yeah, space suits. But then Predator, he catches on and battle ensues, and eventually we get it down to Danny Glover, and he ends up on the spaceship, which is insane. This
That's when
glowing,
everything expands, when it's like, "Whoa, there's the ship," and then, yeah, what eventually you're getting to, yes.
yeah. I mean, that's awesome. It's all glowing, and the artwork in there is amazing.
It's
And
like
then we get,
hieroglyphics on the wall, yeah.
yeah, we see more of them, and they all look different. So if you think about it, we saw the original, we just saw one. They have different markings to them, the different heights, they're different. Like it's, yeah,
What
it's a
I did
whole,
notice, so there's the main one at the end, and so there's the main, one of the main cartel dudes is King Willie, and everyone's
mhm.
like, King Willie's the king of coke," whatever, and then, like, Predator, one of the dudes at the end, I noticed is his they have, like, a Predator King Willie because like, he had, like, chains on and stuff, and he had all the neck and I was like, "Oh, that's the King Willie Predator. He's the head motherfucker that they got there."
Yeah. It is a little hokey. There's the Danny Glover and him have this whole fight off the side of a building, and he's setting off his self-destruct mechanism, but like I don't know, just
Your "I'm out of this party," watch?
Yes, I need that Apple Watch, the 3 screens. I set that timer, and that's how I can just leave places, and I don't have to tell anybody. They'll just know. Like, I might do that during the podcast one time. Like, you're just in the middle of a thought, and screen
And
goes
then you
blank.
self-destruct, and I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
guess that's the end of the podcast."
this is the last episode. Fantastic. And then maybe the next episode, it's just that like blow up pilot from Airplane. You know that blow up
Oh,
pilot in the
yeah,
movie
yeah,
Airplane?
yeah.
That's what's sitting in my chair instead. But but I guess you just stop that self-destruct mechanism by chopping his arm off. Am I reading that correctly?
That seemed to be, and then, yeah, he, like, threw it away or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and then it just stops.
So I had a couple of questions actually. I mean, well, so what I do love, Bill Paxton is like the sequel god. He's in Predator 2, he's in Alien 2, he's in Terminator 2. Make sure you check out our Terminator 2 episode. We did a back-to-back Terminator and Terminator 2 4 episode series extravaganza. Another thing, did you notice Paxton requested to be transferred? And I love when Danny Glover's like, that's the thing that scares me. No one requests to be here. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is a familiar conversation. Who's had this before? And I was like, Mills and Summers.
Oh, were there 7 predators on that ship? I don't
I
know.
don't
Count
know.
them off. Oh no.
How did I
Oh
think of
no.
that?
Could you imagine? All the predators each represent one of the sins.
Sins? Could you imagine?
Ah.
I didn't even think about that.
So like for all his glory, Bill Paxton just shows up and jumps on the sequels that I don't like as much as the originals. Oh, Bill.
Well, you didn't like Terminator 2 more than the original?
I don't know. I think
So
listen,
funny.
when it came out, absolutely. When it came out, absolutely. I think that hit everybody. But I don't
Uh,
know. Now that after we did the original Terminator for the podcast, I love the original even more. I mean, I think that goes with every episode we do. We always love the movies even more every single time we do them,
there's
right?
9 predators.
There are 9. There are 9. Ah, well.
There
But
might be
there's
more.
7
I
that
stopped
count.
counting after 7. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's
exactly.
7 that count. The 9 are the assistants. Let's just say that.
Another thing I really dig, the kid sees Predator at the cemetery, and like Predator scans the kid's got like a plastic gun or whatever,
Mhm,
and Predator scans it, and it's like, oh no, that's a plastic gun. I'm not gonna get it. But then the kid like offers him. He's like, you want some candy? But
mhm.
then I thought what was a very cool kill scene in the subway when like all the strobes are going off from the train
Yeah.
going quick, and Predator is just going through the train, slicing and dicing everyone up, killing them in the strobe lights. So this was the question I was going to ask. Paxton, as it's approaching Predator, right?
Mhm.
Predator's camouflage. You could see it coming towards him. He's shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, but it's like right in front of him. He's not missing it. He's hitting it. So like he's got to be like, it's ridiculous for him to
Right.
be shooting all around it. So like, are they bulletproof when they're camouflaged?
Maybe. Also, like, well, if he has the armor on, perhaps he's hitting parts of the armor. I'll make my only Star Wars reference. He's got Beskar Mandalorian steel that he's wearing. So there you go. There's my one Star Wars reference of this show. But I did notice too when they're camouflaged that like they did something different here where it's parts of the weapons will like emerge out of it's not camouflaged anymore. So you get this spear and other parts, that shoulder gun kind of appears. It is a little bit hokey because you see part of it, but not the rest of him. So I'm not sure how that's defined. Um, but I think I would have loved if they had gone like I think the premise of the city is like awful fast to just end up in the city. Like I think we sort of miss it getting to the city. Maybe there's some stuff with sightings, and maybe there's some mysterious. Like if we were going to go 7 with this movie, if we were going to
Mhm.
rewrite this movie to go 7, we're going to have these mysterious murders, and we're going to try to figure out who's killing people in this way. And then, eventually it's not John Doe, it's Predator, and we end up there. I don't think he turns himself in though. I think he fights it out.
He's killing it. I love when he finally kills Bill Paxton in the kid's voice. He says, "You want some candy?" and then kills him.
Right.
Very
And who
disturbing.
the most classic line in one of the most classic lines in the original gets repeated here.
Yes. So Glover removes Predator's mask and he says, "You are one ugly mother." But then Predator grabs onto Danny Glover and screams, "Motherfucker!"
And that's interesting because did he hear that now, or is that a connection to recording from the previous film? I wonder.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Predator can speak English now.
Right. Maybe they're transmitting it back to the ship. Um, I have to say too, like this is they've been all over the universe and stuff, and we see the little teaser at the end of a xenomorph skull in the ship, right? But which would be a pretty, you know, rough kill for them. Uh, I think humans are probably easy pickings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they, barely ever run it. Like you got to run into Danny Glover or Arnold to like have any problems. If they're running into Shawn the Butcher, this is a short movie. I think. What do you think?
I'm dead. A
Yeah,
camouflage thing starts coming up to me with the intent to kill me. What am I even gonna do? What am
right.
I gonna do? So
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
there's another dope shot in here, which is eventually gonna meet. So it's cool. I love like he rips off Bill Paxton's like head and then throws his body in the subway and runs
Yeah.
away. But as Glover's chasing Predator's like first off, he's climbing up the friggin' wall like he's Spider-Man, but he's got the spinal cord and the skull strapped over his back. And then he gets to the top of the building. And if he doesn't look cool enough, he holds up the fucking skull in one hand and the Predator spear in the other, and the goddamn
Mhm.
lightning strikes and like he's glowing with
Yeah.
electricity. It is
Yeah.
fucking sick.
Yeah. Suddenly, Dark Knight appears,
Yes, it's
but
very Batman, but there's a lot of Spider-Man and Batman, like little
right.
cues, like Predator's like hunched over on like the edge of like a friggin', a
Mhm.
building, the gargoyle thing or whatever. Yeah, just shit like that.
I do find it interesting that these films, the originals that I love so much, if you were to put Alien and Halloween in that boat, the sequels often ramp up the gore and the violence, and I think at a loss for the story because they probably have to raise the bar because they need to figure out a way to get people. This is different storytelling at that time. This is not a public that will binge watch a show on Netflix all Saturday and watch Stranger Things episodes that are 85 minutes long or something. This is a different public. They got to get people in the theater, buy popcorn, buy soda, have fun, make their money back. It's expensive. So there's a different, means to an end for this. And I think uh we'll eventually get into it, but I think a more recent version has kind of done a better job of crafting a little bit of the lore. But I also think it's a more patient, would you agree, Shawn, a more patient public to dive into things than they needed to ram a lot into this film to get people to say, hey, it's the next level up from the original.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is. And that's probably why like I love it so much because I love those like 90s quick action movies like get in, give me what I want, give me
Right.
some explosions, give me some gunfire, give me some murder, movie starts, movie ends, movie begins. That's why I love like Cloverfield so much because it was like a
Right.
90s movie in the 2000s.
I mean, listen, this movie could only be more 90s if they called it Predators with a Z at the end.
.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or X Predator, with
Yeah.
an X in the middle or something.
But
It is, and it's very like that mentality. And if you grew up during that time period, that's the way everything was going. The TV commercials were fast. The every right,
extreme. Yeah.
everything was totally extreme. So that's the way they had to go with it. And I think um for me, I like a little more of the lore and a little kind of the slower.
So that I was thinking when you were saying like an episode Netflix show, that would have probably been like the chase from like the jungle to like sightings in
Mhm.
the city. And then the eighth
Right.
episode is like, oh, he's in the city. We'll see you on
Yeah.
season 2. Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, you run into that problem of like, okay, we're gonna show these predators and how they live. So like, are we gonna have kids and we're gonna have a family structure. Like I don't want to see this guy leaving his house, punching in somewhere, to go slaughter people. Like that wouldn't be fun either. So I think that's right when we see too much of that, even
Yeah.
that's not good either. There's that fine line of where the mystique is versus, and I think for the year this came out, they rode the line perfectly for 1990, right? This hit all the notes that they needed to hit. They needed the quippy lines, just like the original.
Yes.
They needed the fast pacing. They needed another setting. You
Yep.
got different actors.
And even
And
something
then
you mentioned before, like the Easter egg of the alien skull, because like people were talking about Alien Predator, Alien Predator, Alien Predator, but
mhm,
I don't know how much it was existing then till like they showed like here's a connection directly, and it's like, oh, that's fucking cool.
right, and that sends people down a building tangent and wondering what could happen and what would happen if they ran across each other. And I do think we should probably get into those films down the line.
Not
One,
my favorites by far. Not my
yeah, one
favorite
of
by
them is
far.
it takes a lot from HP Lovecraft, so that might be fun to kind of go into. It's more my favorite than the other one.
Mhm.
But they had such high hopes for those films. All of us did.
Did you see so I mean I've seen it before all over Twitter. But now that my phone knows that I'm getting ready to do this Predator 2 episode, my whole Twitter feed has been like Predator 2 things. And have you seen the clip of like the blooper reel of the Predator dance off?
Oh no.
Oh,
All
you
right.
haven't seen it?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I'll post it on the In Madness socials at
Okay, I'm
In Madness
excited.
Pod. It's Danny Glover having a dance off with the 9 or 10 Predators on the ship, and they like synchronize dance. It's very, I mean, honestly, it really takes you out of I mean, it doesn't happen in the movie, but it kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen like xenomorphs dancing before. So like
Right.
it's a little bit of a buzzkill, I think, but it's still funny to see because I always wanted to see like alien bloopers. Like I have the
Mhm.
alien DVD and like the extra everything and the whole thing. And I'm like, oh man, do they have bloopers? Like I'm like, there's never any like
Mhm.
bloopers for these movies. And I would always hope to see something like that. But I don't want to see like I don't know. I don't know. I would want. I don't know. Like if the alien was walking and tripped, I wouldn't mind. But if the alien broke into like a dance routine, I'm like, no, this is taking me out of it too much.
Mhm.
But it's still a
Yeah.
really cool clip to see because it does kind of like give you that breath of fresh air from like the drug cartels and the violence and the over the top and the 90s everything. And it's like here's a little side clip of them all dancing together. And it's like, all right, that's cool, I guess. It's I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with the clip.
I mean, it's showing camaraderie on the set, but yeah, I think there's a mystique that could disappear from that. We run into it all the time with social media now, where we kind of ruin the mystique on a lot of things. But I don't know what they have in the works for the Predator world past Prey, but
I heard they're
I
making Prey too, I think.
yeah, I think that there's certainly a space for them to do more. I think there's a space for them to hit Aliens Predator in a different way down the line if they kind of build up two worlds and hit it. The problem with that is it has to go in the right hands because it's the best way to do that would to have it not be Godzilla versus Kong, and I like Godzilla versus Kong, but I think that would shine too bright of a light on this. Like they've got to go
Dark.
dark and a little and in horror, but I don't think they need to go over the top of the gore and all that. I just
Like
think it
the
needs to be
Batman.
suspenseful. Yes, absolutely, Sean. You're 100% correct. Like the Batman,
But
like
not 2
True
hours
Detective.
45. Get in and give
Right,
me 90. Give me that 1990s 90-minute movie that I want. In, out. Don't keep me in the
right.
theater for 3 hours. I need a piss break in between an Alien versus Predator movie.
But look at the recent season of True Detective, which I absolutely loved. Could you imagine if there was a Predator piece just rolled in to something like that?
I
Like how
mean,
incredible that would be.
that'd be
Right? And
so
that was
fun.
an incredible show, but handled in that way. So
Mhm.
we do get family drama. We do get characters that we learn to love or learn to hate because that makes all the other stuff cool. a cake with just way too much icing is we think it's
I don't
great, but when we're
I don't
done,
think
it's
we've
not that
seen
great.
an Arctic Predator movie yet.
Oh, well, you know my deep love of Arctic
I
horror.
do know you do say
Yes.
it in a lot of episodes.
Every episode, I think. Every episode. I used to say, and things like that or stuff like that. That was my old crutch in old episodes. Go back and
You
listen
said
to
a
it.
word on one of
Uh-oh.
our recent episodes that I've never not even heard you say, but I've never heard in my life, and I can't remember what it was. It wasn't
I'm
minutia.
sorry. I do often do that. I think at one
I
point
love it. I'm
I
gonna
think at
get
one
it.
point Mrs. Vertebrae 33 had a list of phone words on her phone. I think she might.
Vertebraisms.
Yeah, that said like 50-cent words, that's just things that come out of my mouth. It's from reading a lot, I think, and you just kind
I
of get
love it.
words,
It's
but
educational. I like that
uh
shit.
yeah, yeah, I do use weird words at points,
One of
but
the last things I had here on my list was I do love the cool new Predator weapons that we saw in this
mhm,
movie that weren't in the first one. He's got that spear, which I don't think he had a spear, or maybe he
no,
did. Yeah, he's got the spear.
not
He's got
like that one. Yeah,
I like
that's
the
pretty massive.
he's got this disc. So it's the disc that originally got it got his arm cut off, but before like he throws it with all the hanging beef and it like chops like the beef
Mhm,
in half and stuff. It's like the batarang and then whatever weapon he uses to chop Gary Busey in half. There's a point where Gary Busey's standing there, and then his whole torso like slides off his legs, and it's like, whoa! The predator cut his ass in half.
right.
So sick.
He has all of that stuff. They got the big medical kit. They got everything. This is the one he has to have that juice box, Sean. There has to be like a Sunny D pouch or something. It's the 90s, something extreme, some Gatorade extreme or something.
Yeah, some
It's
Four
got it.
Loco. Yeah,
Yeah, it's got to exist. There's maybe some St. Ives is
yeah.
it's got it's got St. Ives in there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I liked seeing all the different looks to all the Predators too. You can certainly go online and look at kind of their markings and how different they are. And I'm sure by now there's deep dives into the different tribes and affiliations and their culture. All that exists online. Um, I like the world building. I just wish it was more noir. You mentioned Batman, but I would have liked it if it was
Seven.
in that way. Yes. Yeah, where you've got to see the predator. Like we don't need to see all of it. Yes, it is cool to see all the weapons and all these other things, but more of that mystery I think would have helped a little bit. But again, that's us now, 2024, not in 1990, where this has got to come out. They've got to pay Danny Glover. They've got to pay Bill Paxton. They've got to make a lot of money on, leading into Thanksgiving when this comes out, and this has to be a hit. So it's a different mentality for us now. But yeah, I don't want anyone to think that I hated the movie because I fell asleep 3 times.
So I mean that's it. That's all I got for Predator 2. I mean, I love this movie. It's not one that I'm like, top 10 or whatever, but if
Mhm,
it's on, I'm watching it cuz it's
mhm,
action packed and it's fun. I think it's a fun movie. Like there's no part that drags. There's always some shit going on, whether it's with the
mhm,
gangsters, whether it's with the predator. But I like the predators out there. He's killing the civilians. He's killing anyone who's got a gun. He's killing them. It doesn't matter if it's a cop. It doesn't matter if it's cartel. It doesn't matter if it's civilians. Like and all the. And I was wondering why is he killing everybody on the train when he goes on that killing spree? And I forgot that they all at one point pull out guns because it's the 90s in LA when everyone was like and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny." So it's, like, got a little bit of yeah, it's pretty
yeah.
gnarly. It's
It's a
pretty
little
gnarly.
cheeky at certain points,
Yeah,
this movie. Yeah,
exactly.
it's meant to be. This is meant to be. It didn't come out in the summertime, but it's meant to be that type of film.
Yeah.
Get people cheering in the theater. This was meant to be released where when he says the line, the whole place would erupt, right? And they would fall, and then you would get a oohs and ahs when you see the xenomorph skull at the end. It does exactly what it's meant to do.
So you
Um,
like it? You did like it or you didn't like it?
I mean, listen, I don't know when I'll watch it again, but I didn't hate it.
Okay. Okay.
It's hard for me to hate any movies. You know that, Sean. I
Yes.
like Predator, the original Predator, a lot more. And I like another film in this series like a lot. So we'll get into it. But we have a
Did you
few
did
things
you
to
get
tease.
Well, did you get all your gnarly bits in for episode 20? Is this 26.5? 26.5 in Madness Pod, our
26.5.
first movie point five. If you saw Predator 2, if you enjoyed Predator 2, if you thought anything about Predator 2 or want to discuss anything about that movie with us,
Mm.
about anything we discuss on this episode on the socials at In Madness Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. InMadnessPod@gmail.com is the best place to contact us. If you want to talk about something in length, we will dive into the mail sack in our next episode. There's a bit of a tease. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Vertebrae. What mug do you have?
Oh, hold on. I did have one more note on here. I looked at my
Go
notes
ahead. Go
and it
ahead.
says I wrote already not as cool as the first one. That was like when it started, I think. That was my nap number 1.
Yeah.
I have a Star Wars mug. It's there's
Hold it
these
up a little
Starbucks ones
higher.
that they do, and
Cool.
they're do like city-based mugs.
Cool.
So this one is Mustafar. So you could get them for any cities. I have like 9 of these or 6
Make
of
sure
them.
you check us out on the YouTube. We post this podcast on YouTube as well. Give us the 5-star review, smash that like button, subscribe to the In Madness Spotify playlist. All the information for all of this is available in the description of any one of our episodes. Very easy. One spot to find everything. Tell everybody you know about In Madness. Spread the In Madness tentacles. Yes, so we can do teases. We're all good. You got all your info in Predator
Let's go.
26.5. Yeah, that's very cool. So yes, even though there is a theme, and even though we did Predator Part 1 and 2, and then Predator 2, our next episode will be a 0.75. So it'll be a bit of an even shorter episode than this, in which we will probably dive into the mail sack. We will discuss. I mean, at the point it's going to be released, we're going to discuss a trailer that's been out for quite a while now, but we will discuss it in our next episode. And then finally, I'm going to just do it. Even if I don't know how ready it is, we'll figure it out how ready it is. But we got a very special announcement at the end of the next episode, 0.75. That's all I'll give away. Do you have any teasers you want to give, or is that good?
No, I think that's perfect. I love that we're gonna be hitting the ridiculously numbered stage of this podcast once again and doing a point
Our last
75.
0.75 was one of our best episodes at New
Mhm.
York Comic Con. So let's hope this next 0.75 can match up to our last 0.75. Probably not, because we're not getting Sandy King or any
No, 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 it's
Basil
gonna
or any of
crush it.
our.
We're gonna crush it. This is gonna be the biggest episode we've ever
Thank
had.
you very much for hanging out with myself, Vertebrae 33. You want to hit any plugs?
Thank you. I'm Vertebrae 33 on all the socials. You can buy my merch at all Hot Topic stores. I do have a few new things coming up soon and kind of a big announcement for me as well. But we'll do that down the line. And thank everybody for listening. We appreciate it. Please send us in anything you have. I didn't do really any gnarly bits for Predator 2. I'd love people to send that in. Give me some facts. Give me some weird world building stuff. And thank you guys all for listening. Appreciate it.